So a big warm welcome to Peyton, everyone.
Thank you very much. Well, this is lovely, and thank you very much, Karmarama, for this invitation. It really is a pleasure to be here, and thank you, Tammy, for hooking it up. It's such a nice opportunity to actually think a little bit about some things that, to be quite honest, I've never ever, in all these years I've been in music now full time for 16 years. My first hit came out in 2003, and the label that I signed into is actually celebrating this Saturday the 20th anniversary. And in 2003, my career began. And in all these years, I've never really sat down and asked myself, how has being gay affected or impacted my career? But you know, because this is an LGBTQ event, I've been thinking a little bit about this. And then I was billed as a gay rights advocate and activist or whatever, which I thought sounded a little inflated and didn't quite feel deserving of that title. But it made me think a little bit about myself and what my strategy for advocacy has been. I have certainly not been the one that's been out in the street with the placards and shouting and fighting for the rights that luckily somebody did fight for, that we're all now enjoying. And so I'm aware and very grateful to people who have done that hard work and gotten us to where we are today, at least in a lot of Western countries. But I have had at the core of what I do very much an agenda. And I guess for me, my father is a preacher. I grew up in the south of the States, a Pentecostal preacher, so I had a kind of very evangelical Christian upbringing. My grandfather was also a minister, and my great-grandfather was also a minister, and we had 21 evangelists and missionaries at one point in my family. So I come from a long line of preachers. And although I certainly don't consider myself at all religious these days, in a way, my career has been defined in a way by ministry, because at its core, it has been a type of ministry. And I guess my approach to advocacy has been a little different. You know, I believe that if you really want to change the world, and you want to, you know, it's important that we change the laws. We need to change the laws. We need to, you know, of course, if you're gonna drag people by the neck and get them up to speed, yes. But you really want to change the essence of what's happening. You have to change people from the inside out. And the way we do that is we try to elevate people's consciousness so that they don't just change the law because it's the right thing to do or because it's the politically correct thing to do. They don't just treat you better as a gay man or a gay woman, trans, because that's what the current mood or climate is. They actually, in their hearts, change the way they see the LGBTQ community because they actually get to know somebody who is perhaps gay or transgender. It's very hard to hate all black people once you actually have a really good black friend. It's kind of hard to hate all Muslims, you know, once you actually have some dear friends that you love, you adore them. They're good people, they're fun, and then you don't get to kind of carry on having those old, you know, boring stereotypes that maybe you were raised with, which is why you've adopted them. But actually, you know, by having human relationships with people, you are forced to completely reevaluate what you thought about that group, that marginalized group, or that minority group. And then you don't get to have those prejudices anymore. This is, I guess, maybe for me, been my way of contributing. My music, for the most part, I do write love songs and, you know, breakup songs, but, you know, most music you hear on the radio really is pretty much, that's what you hear. It's people moaning about. I mean, Adele, my God, Adele, what a career she got out of that breakup. That gosh, you should pay him half of everything she earned. She moaned and moaned and moaned, and I love Adele, no disrespect to that. But how often do we hear songs about friendship? How often do we hear songs that actually remind us to love ourselves? can't love yourself, how the hell are you gonna love somebody else? You know, I mean, we need more celebration of our own power to rise up, our own power to exceed our own expectations of ourselves, our power to connect with each other, the power, the beauty, the magic of friendship. You know, for me, this has perhaps been a little more my subject material, and a lot of my songs do deal with rising up or perhaps finding that higher place within yourself, and I believe that, you know, if you're on a dance floor at 3 o'clock in the morning and maybe, you know, you're totally sober, maybe you've just popped a pill, and you don't know how many times over the years somebody said to me, oh my God, the first time I heard your song, I was kind of on a pill for the first time. And then like these words, you know. But to me the dance floor was kind of an extension of the church that I'd left. You know, the dance floor was somewhere that you go when you need that boost, or you know, so you're at the end of a work week and you're tired and you need to be reminded that there's more to life than work, or, you know, it's gonna be okay, you know. So I always think of that person at, you know, coming up on a pill at 3 o'clock in the morning when I write lyrics for the dance floor, because I think, rather than just, these days you hardly hear any lyrics at all, you're lucky if you hear a vocal. But in 2003, when I broke into dance music, house music, you know, you could still actually write songs. It was amazing. My first hit's the song called A Higher Place. It has 3 verses, a bridge, and a chorus. Like, you know, the chorus goes around about 4 times. It's a bloody hymn. You do that now, they'll laugh you know, out of the studio. Nobody wants that. You know, they just want to repeat, you know, one line over and over again. It's called a hook. Really boring. So, you know, I always think about that person there, dancing and feeling that need to be reminded that somehow it's going to be okay. You know, somehow there's more to life than what you've previously thought. You're more powerful than you gave yourself credit for. Whatever. There's a message in that. And by elevating human consciousness, by collectively trying to connect us, this has been my way of trying to change the world, one person at a time, from the inside out. So, a gay rights activist, I don't know, I won't start putting that on my CV anytime soon. I think there are people much more deserving of that title. But perhaps a musician on a mission would be a better way of putting it. And 16 years later, and I'm still here, and I'm still on that mission. So, let's start.